but there's also some QB situations in each of our three schools. Um, who how is that shaping up for you guys in South Bend?
Well, this is kind of fun, and it'll be a fun conversation from the standpoint of we've got three legitimate battles going on here, and then we've got Georgia, Alabama also having quarterback battles, Oregon too. All that to say that if Tennessee is shopping for a quarterback, they might be on the market after the next week. Um,
Hmm.
so I will tell you this. Let me start with this. I had a mild heart attack this morning. I woke up and I put ESPN.com. I went there and I saw reports cars 25 status at risk due to shoulder.
Hmm.
And
Oh, yeah.
I'm in my own world, so of course I didn't think it had David Carr or Derek Carr, excuse me.
Yeah.
So I had a little bit of a panic immediately when I saw that report. Fortunately, it doesn't relate to us. Um, Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a three-way quarterback race at the moment. We've got a veteran who's been around a little while, who maybe isn't as gifted, but he's been in the system in Steve Angeli, and then we've got Kenny Menchie, who has been here for 2 years now. Live arm, very mobile, so a lot of skill. And then we've got the you know the hope that we've all been praying for since Jimmy Clausen and Brady Quinn left, and that is C.J. Carr, the grandson of Michigan man
You just
Lloyd
had to
Carr,
bring that up.
son of the former Michigan quarterback as well. So all that to say, he comes from a great pedigree. Um, so CJ, he is most accurate passer among them. He seems to, and this is all, of course, feedback from reading as many outlets as I can. He reads through his progressions better than the others. He is more athletic than Steve Angeli. He seems to be more consistent than the other quarterbacks in practices, which is a good indicator. Menchie is a bit more home run strikeout. So when he does something, it really makes the jaws drop. But when he does something else, it makes all the heads shake. So we've got that going. And then Angeli, every time he's been put in a game, he's been pretty decent. I mean, we haven't really asked him to do much. Um, the running game and the defense has taken care of it, but he's been able to complement it. So the bad news for me is I think we might have one starting offensive lineman like playing today. So I don't think we're really going to learn too much about
Yeah.
starter is going to be, but it will be fun to see how the ball comes off when they throw it.
Mhm.
Um, just to see if anybody does go through progressions to see how athletic they might be. Um, so it's going to be fun. It's the first time we've had a quarterback battle since Buckner and Pine. So it's going to be fun. That's all I got for you, Sean. I wish I knew I was going to be able to declare a victor today, but I've honestly got no idea. So we're going to be watching the defense, watch the running backs, how they do when they get tackled 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage because the no line. So hopefully they fight really hard. Um, but it should be fun, and it's going to be good to see who trots out with who in the secondary and on the defensive line and all that good stuff.
Hmm.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I will definitely be tuned in. I do have Peacock. If I can give you my password, I'd send that up to you, Alex, so you can watch as well. Yeah, I'll definitely be tuned in. Alex, Michigan, you guys play next week. What's your thoughts? I know you got a conversation in house.
Yeah, so originally it looked like it was just going to be a two-way quarterback battle between Mikey Keene, the Fresno State transfer, and Bryce
Mm,
Underwood, obviously the number one recruit in this year's class. But Keene got injured early on. So he's been out pretty much the entirety of spring camp. Sounds like it's
Yeah.
going to leak into training camp as well. I don't know what the actual injury is,
Well, okay.
but all I've seen is he's battling an injury probably into the start of training camp as well. But Jaden Davis, last year's 4/5-star recruit, depending on where you looked, he's looked awesome too. And Underwood and Davis have gone step for step, throw for throw, stride for stride.
Yeah.
And it's exciting because Underwood's been everything he was promoted to be. The progressions, the athleticism, he throws one of the nicest balls I've ever seen for an 18-year-old kid. It's so smooth, quick release, accurate. He's been as advertised, but Jaden Davis has gone par for par with him. Like it's been so much fun to watch every little clip I've seen, and I can't wait. So it sucks because with the game being next weekend, they've delayed it being broadcasted on the Big Ten Network till the following weekend. It doesn't come out till after the portal.
Oh, come on.
So I don't think I'm going to be able to watch it next weekend. It'll be the weekend
Ah.
after. But I can't wait to see those two go at it. You'd have to imagine Bryce gets the job, but it's very promising to see Davis going for it and playing as well as he is. And I hope they can just keep the idea of the competition going into fall camp so he's still a Wolverine come August.
Yep.
But yeah, no, it's been very fun to watch.
Do they have any bona fide security blankets? So with like Loveland gone, is there a receiver that you're like, oh yeah, this is the dude?
So
Is there a tight end who they can feel comfortable with?
Marlon Klein was the backup tight end behind Loveland. Got quite a bit of playing time the last few years when we've done the double tight ends. He's a trusted receiver. And then it's the two main guys from last year, which I don't know if they just had a bad year or if it was the atrocious quarterback play, but Samaj Morgan and Tyler Morris. And then we got Donovan McCulley from Indiana. So we've got a decent set of weapons there. And then the running backs are going to be really good again this year. Jordan Marshall, who went off in the bowl game against Alabama, and then the Alabama transfer Justice Haynes have both looked phenomenal in camp as well. The offensive line looks better than last year, still not what it was the few years before. So the offense looks extremely promising this year. New offensive coordinator. Thank you, by the way, Sean Chip Lindsay, although he left you guys before that. But he's looking – the offense is looking real good with him calling the plays and bringing in his style. So – Michigan offensive football should actually be fun to watch again.
Can you pass this year? Will you be able to get the forward pass going?
We better be able to pass this year. I'm telling you how much.
Oh man,
we shouldn't be in with like Army, Navy, and all that in terms of passing offense this year.
I remember what game was it with the USC game? I was like, are these guys going to beat them just running the triple option like that? QB left, QB right.
What was it? It took till the Northwestern game, the second last regular season game of the year, to have a 40-yard pass.
Yeah,
it was that bad.
Yeah, I felt for you last year. Not that much because you were the defending champs, but I still felt.
I was gonna say we had our run, but.
Oh man, yeah, I'm eager to see definitely both games. Hey, as you know, North Carolina will not be doing the spring game today, but I'm still trying to keep an eye on certain things. Right now, we got 4 guys in house. We lost Connor Harrell and Jacoby Criswell to the transfer portal, and we are bringing back Max Johnson, who started for us last year, but then went out in Minnesota game because he broke his femur. So for those of you who don't know, he's the son of Brad Johnson, former Redskin before we were Commanders. So it was definitely good seeing that. He's got the most experience playing 2 years at LSU and then 2 years at A&M. So I'm gonna go ahead and say he's probably the default. He's gonna be the guy that is gonna start because he's the oldest guy that we have. We also have Ryan Brown, 6'4", 213. He was a 3-star. Ended up going to Purdue. Played couple games there. I think he got in and started like 2 games. Had a decent performance or whatever. But we know how their season went last year. So he's also got some experience. Very very mobile. Um, doesn't really jump off the page, but a lot has to do with the health of Mac Johnson and will Ryan Brown be able to come in and take some snaps. But he doesn't. He's not somebody that you get excited about. Not like these other two guys. Now you got Bryce Baker, who Eric you were talking about, and then you have Atori Newkirk. Baker's true freshman, amazing arm talent, ball placements on point. Obviously, he's got that athleticism. He's a lefty. I'm always been a fan of righties, but him and as a matter of fact, him and Max Johnson are lefties, uh, and he both
Hmm.
4 stars. The guy has ability, and he seems to be the one that a lot of people are really excited about. I mean, great athleticism, just the ability to kind of play all over the field and stuff like. I'm interested in that, but I'm also interested in this other guy that we just picked up, Atori Newkirk. Guy's 18 years old, 4 star, 6'3", 200 pounds. The guy we know to back Tidewater Player of the Year. In fact, a lot of people are calling him Baby Vic, Little Vic, or something like that because he came from the same area that Michael Vick came from. Completed 77% of his passes, threw for almost 9,000 total yards, over 600 yards in his last year at in high school. The guy has the ability. He has that pop. He's that home run threat, but he's fresh. He's new. He's really green. So you really want to see kind of how he's able to kind of work in Belichick's system. If you were to ask me right now, since we don't have an official spring game, if you were to ask me who I thought would be the starter, I think a lot of it is based on the health of Max Johnson. He's by far the most experienced. He's played big name football at LSU. Played a couple games at Texas A&M. We've seen what he's able to do over there, even though they didn't really he didn't pan out over there. We've seen that he's been in those type of atmospheres, so I'm excited to see if he can do that. Um, but for me, I think it really I I'm like these other guys. We've seen guys that have seen the Drakes and the Sam Howells, and they were so great in college. I mean, Sam Howell set the record in 3 years for most passing yards, I believe, in school history with over 10,000. Drake May, we saw how good he was, ACC Player of the Year, and then ended up getting picked third overall. And the Bryce Baker is supposed to be the next one. Atari Newkirk is supposed to be one of these guys that's to jump off the page. So it's exciting to kind of see what those guys are and can they pop, can they shine? But at the end of the day, Bill likes his guys. He likes guys that are professional. He likes guys that can play. And what better? I mean, in my mind, I'm thinking Bill's. He knows Brad. Brad Johnson's a former NFL quarterback, so he knows what the pedigree is, and he knows kind of maybe that comfort level, the experience. If Max Johnson is healthy, I think that's the direction that they'll go. But it's gonna be interesting in house because from playing NCAA 25 and I just picking up a 5 star quarterback. I know that I have some experienced guys on the roster, but that 5 star, he's nipping at the heels like, hey,
Yeah.
hey, let me play. I may or may not have started him last week, but that's neither here nor there. But for me, I would love to see one of these young guys get up there and get a start. But kind of being sentimental, I do want Max to have his time because he is the most experienced, but he also, he went out early last year with the broken, femur. Let's give him that opportunity to have a good year. And I think under Bill, I think that could be a mesh. I'm still kind of green on the whole QB competition, and I'm definitely looking into more about each of these guys. But they each have something that's positive. But if you want me to rate them, it'd be Max just because of experience, and then I'd go Baker, Atari Newkirk, and then Ryan Brown from Purdue. So that's kind of where we're at.
That's interesting. So you're the only one who kind of hit on that. So I'm going to pose the question to the three of us, a two-part question.
Hmm.
Obviously, we all want the best quarterback to have the job, whoever it is.
Hmm.
As fans, as good fans, I know we all feel that we trust our coaches. But
Mm.
who do you think is going to win the job? Number
Ooh,
one. Why? Who do you want to win the job,
ooh,
and why?
I like that.
I stole Sean's job for a second. Sean, I'm gonna
I knew you
send it
had it
back
in
to
you.
you.
I
I'm gonna
love
send
it.
it back to you since it's fresh on the North Carolina talk.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Look, I think if you want my honest opinion, and again, a lot of this has to do with the health and can Max Johnson come back healthy? If he is healthy and 100%, start coming into fall camp and coming into the season, I think that's where you go. I think he has the experience, he has the ability to play, and especially if he gets back to 100%, he can run the offense. Now, it'd be eager to see kind of what offense Bill implements and if it's different from Mac Brown's and kind of what how we go from there. But that's where I think they're going to go. For me, it's a toss up between Bryce Baker and Atori Newkirk. And the reason being, both of them were good in high school. We know both of them were highly touted coming out of high school. And I kind of think when you were, 2 years removed from Drake, we're losing Amarion Hampton, who's a stud in the backfield. Obviously, a number of wide receivers have gone on to the pros. We're going to need something that's going to pop. And I think it kind of I don't think we've had this kind of demise like Florida, but I think our QB situation could be similar where you have a Mertz like Max Johnson, who's the older guy who could play, but you know what you're getting with him. I
Yeah.
want to see what the lagway of for North Carolina is, be it Newkirk, be
Hmm.
it Baker. Can they come in and really add that excitement to the team? And then, I mean, we talked about being 12th overall in the transfer portal and bringing all these new guys in house. If you get good quarterback play and a guy that's going to be there for 3-4 years, well, that's not a given anymore. But a guy that's going to be there this year, and if he plays well, maybe that'll help bring in other people. So yeah, who I want is one of the freshmen. Most likely, probably Baker, but Newkirk's interesting. But what I think is going to happen, Max Johnson,
All right, so it'd be ideal for Max to come in, and then one of those guys to kind of start easing their way in.
just show
I
up. Oh
got
yeah,
you. I
oh
got
yeah.
you.
Hmm.
What about you, Alex?
Mine's pretty straightforward. I think it's going to be Bryce. He paid him all that money, got him to leave LSU, come way closer to home, Ann Arbor, um, and he seems like the best quarterback for the spot, and it's who I want. There's been all the hype around him. I've seen the little clips they've shown and all that, and it's getting me excited to watch him on Saturday. So I don't want to wait. I want him to be the guy right off the bat, but I want him to earn it as well. I don't want it
Yeah,
to just be handed to him. I'd be okay with them if everyone's healthy coming into fall camp saying Keen's the guy. It's his job to lose off the bat and make Bryce win the job. Um, but in the end, I think it's going to be Bryce, and that's who I want.
yeah. Um, well, I think who is pretty clear for me as well. So I think it's pretty interesting that, everybody wants. We're all looking at the big potential, and
Yep.
that's
Mm-hmm.
that's what we want. Even though I think Kenny has that high upside, I've been waiting for us to be able to at least get the ball in the air a little bit, probably since Deshaun Kaiser.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, because
so
Hartman did it a little bit, but not.
yeah, I mean, Book was a solid quarterback, but he was more of a run threat and a one
Hmm.
read kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I honestly don't know who will, but part of the reason I want Carr too is because I really have that optimism about him, but also because of in this transfer portal world, I don't want to lose him. Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
Yes.
will we be able to keep him on the bench for 2 years? And if he loses to Angeli still has 2, possibly 3 years left. Menchie has 4 possible years left of eligibility. So, if there's an outright winner, that lane closes. And
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so man.
It's kind
There's
of
a
like
lot of
Alex was saying with that QB competition. As long as they
Yeah, I don't want
compete
to
or at
lose
least
David.
have the illusion of the competition, they might stay put.
yeah, yeah. It's fascinating, man. So I'm actually a little nervous now because
Hmm.
thinking about how I want CJ to show out.
Hmm.
That's it. That's the whole reason. And look, we talked about this all day. You know what I mean? The Nico situation. And now these guys are winning. I don't know that any of us are in a situation. Maybe you, Alex, with a quarterback that might say, "Oh, you said you're giving me this much, and I'm not getting it, so I might leave." But we might not be in that type of situation, but still, you have to think about it almost like you're saying, Eric, play defense and say, all right, I'm going to keep my cards close to my vest. I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing, and I'm not going to tell my guys what I'm doing because then they might get big head. Oh, I got to go somewhere else. I want to start right away, X, Y, and
Hmm.
Z.
Oh yeah,
You know,
absolutely. None of these three that we're talking about, none of them are going to declare a quarterback
No.
until the
Mm-mm.
summer. I mean fall camp, but
Right.
during the summer.
Yeah.
For that same reason, because I want to keep you here. Hopefully, you'll stick around for the season rather than transfer after I name you my number 2 quarterback.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Now I will say one of us has a six-time Super Bowl winning champion as a head coach, so
We ain't
might want to
playing for
stay.
Super Bowls though.
Very good point. Yes, very good point. All right.
Yeah, he has a national championship winning coach, and I have one who's been in a national championship. So
I got an NFL coach. Dang on it. Well, we
well, I have a
came up
national
to
championship
the
winning offensive coordinator, but
I was
NFL.
Alex. I was trying to be generous, man.
I mean,
After
you
talking about
were right.
Carr.
You didn't say head coach, you said coach, so you
I
weren't wrong. But